Welcome back, everybody. It is time now for another Catholic Cocktails. This is the weekly video production of Salt and Light Catholic Radio here in Boise, Idaho. And this is a weekly show where we get together and we raise a glass, we share a toast with some of the famous Catholic saints in our faith based on this book here, Drinking with the Saints by Michael P. Foley.
So each week, for those of you who have been following us, we introduce a saint and a drink here at the beginning. We then send it over to Teresa Zappetta, who's our saint expert. She sends it back to us. We have our fantastic bartenders make the drink for us. And then we get to talk about what we learned and try the drink.
So this week we are talking about Saint Scholastica, and the drink that we have chosen is called Lightning and Thunder. And you're going to learn more with Teresa about why we chose this particular drink. But we'll find out from our bartender a little bit later on about what we're going to need ingredient-wise, but what kind of hardware are we going to need?
So we're just going to need a shaker, ice, cocktail glass, strainer. Keep in mind, this recipe is not in the book. This is one that we found, because the one that they had in the book was pretty
basic.
Yeah, pretty blasé.
It was a mimosa, so
you know how to make
half
that.
Champagne, half orange juice.
There you
Well,
go.
at least that's how
Good
I make them. So we wanted to have something a little more challenging for our crack bartender here at the Harp. So anyway.
Truth.
All right, well, now we know what we're going to make and the things we're going to need to make it. Let's learn more about Saint Scholastica with Teresa Zappetta.
Let us join the Church on February 10th in celebrating Saint Scholastica. Scholastica is the twin sister of Saint Benedict of Nursia. She was born to wealthy parents in around 480 AD. Unlike her brother Benedict, Scholastica was never the subject of a formal biography. So little is known about her life, except for the fact that her religious life paralleled that of her brother. When Benedict left home to become a hermit and establish the monastery of Monte Cassino, Scholastica sought permission from her bishop to live in a community with consecrated virgins. Some scholars believe she eventually founded a monastery of nuns around 5 miles from Benedict's monastery, and it appears that Benedict directed his sister and her nuns. The two visited each other every year in a home between their two monasteries. On one occasion, after spending the day in prayer and holy conversation, Scholastica begged her brother to remain. And he said his rule did not permit he or his companions to spend the night outside of their monastery. Scholastica immediately bowed her head in prayer. And then a horrible, fierce storm broke out, preventing Benedict and his companions from leaving the house. He immediately chided his sister, "What have you done?" And she calmly responded, "I asked a favor of you, which you refused. So I asked God, and he granted me my request." So they spent the night in prayer and pious conversation. And in the morning, Benedict left. 3 days later, Benedict had a vision of a dove ascending into heaven, and he knew immediately that his sister had perished. He had her body buried in the tomb that had been prepared for himself. And so, in honor of Saint Scholastica, who was so loved by God that he granted her request of a dark and stormy night, let's learn how to make the cocktail.
Well, as we do every week, we film Catholic Cocktails at the Harp Irish Pub in beautiful Meridian, Idaho. And back with us, we haven't scared her off yet. Josie returns behind the bar, and we're going to make, what was it? Lightning and Thunder. So I'm assuming the light rum is your lightning. Am I legally able to? I don't want to get my hand slapped here. And then we've got the Thunder. So, yeah, big fan of the Bacardi. And we chose creme de menthe because we wanted a little color in it?
Yeah, a little bit of color.
Okay. And that's all there is.
Yep.
Okay, well, this is pretty simple. I think even I could stumble my way through this one. So I'm going to step aside and we'll watch Josie use these two fabulous ingredients to make the thunder and lightning.
All right, so we're making the thunder and lightning. So we'll start with the rum. And we'll do 1/2 ounce of it in a shaker with some ice in there. A little extra. And then we'll do another 1/2 ounce of the creme de menthe. All right. And we'll shake it up. Hopefully not spill it on myself. After a good couple shakes, put it in a nice little pretty glass and strain so there's no ice. And then we got that thunder and lightning.
All right, we're back. Time now for the taste test. Ladies first.
This one is kind of scary. I don't want to spill it on my white shirt. Maybe white wasn't the best choice.
Well, I wasn't expecting it to look like with such a dainty sip.
I was scared of it. Actually, it's not bad. It's
It looks like mouthwash.
refreshing.
It looks like mouthwash.
It
I have a
kinda
feeling that
tastes
it's going to taste like
mouthwash,
that.
But I like mint. You might want to take a big old sip of that. Well,
Yeah. If you're a big fan of Scope,
sponsored by.
yeah, sponsored by Scope. Little alcohol burn like you would have with your mouthwash. Minty fresh.
This is, we were talking about it. It's kind of a grasshopper without the cream.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So you could order this for lunch, go back to work, and your boss wouldn't even know that you'd been drinking.
Boom. Maybe we shouldn't tell
Oh,
them.
yeah.
Cut that.
Let's
cut that out.
cut that out in
let's not-
post-production. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, it is tasty. I don't know that I'd want a
If you
steady
like
diet
mint,
of it.
I would drink it.
Yeah.
I would order it, but.
So why would we call it thunder and lightning?
So Saint Scholastica is Saint Benedict's sister.
Twin sister.
And the night, I think Teresa probably might have
Yeah.
talked about it, but the night where, right before Saint Scholastica died, she knew she was going to die, so she prayed to God, like, hey, don't let my brother leave. Because they, like, had a hangout, what was it, like once a month or whatever? Or something
Yeah,
Like
we like to get together and,
Talk about
chill.
God, yeah.
Talk about God. Yeah.
that. Anyway, and so he was going to leave, and she was like, no, don't leave. And then there was this big lightning thunderstorm, so that's what.
To keep him from leaving.
Yes.
So that's cool.
She was like, no, bro, come chill with your sis, you know? Apparently she was a gangster, but you know.
So in the book, we were going to talk about the mimosa because of the yellow mimosa flowers that are from,
yeah,
that
yeah,
region.
from that region.
But again, that's kind of a basic drink. Not that this one wasn't. Two ingredients.
It was a leveled up basic.
Grasshopper.
Anyway, continue.
Yeah. So that's something too to look into is the mimosa flower. So if you're not a big fan of Scope, you might want to go back to what's in the book with just the good old-fashioned mimosa.
Classic. Can't go
But
wrong.
yeah, but their relationship was so great, and I don't know, your relationship with your two brothers is awesome.
Yeah.
My relationship with my little brother, there's such a big age gap there.
Oh.
You know, but they were twins.
Yeah.
Wonder Twin
A
powers.
little less of the age. gap
Yeah,
there.
maybe minutes instead of years, but yeah, they
That'd be
just had
pretty.
such a beautiful relationship. Where,
Yeah.
like you said, they do get together and they have deep conversations, and
Well, it's so centered around God. I mean, God
Yeah.
was their complete foundation for their relationship, and they were pushing and challenging each other to become
Right.
more holy. You know, sometimes siblings can push us and challenge us in not
physical
so,
ways.
in physical ways, not so holy ways. But anyway,
yeah. So it's just if you have a sibling, you know, make sure you call him and her or her, and you know, just try to keep close if you can. Have that relationship.
Yeah.
The question of justice or charity was interesting to think about in regards to the story that was shared in the book. You usually read the book. I only look at the pictures, so maybe you can go into a little bit more.
So the story that I told earlier with them like wanting to leave, right? So he was more he wanted to leave and didn't want to stay, not because he didn't like love his sister or whatever.
He had to because of the monastery rules,
right?
yeah.
And we know that he was known for his like strict rules. And so he was just trying to follow that which he had promised God, right? So justice, giving to God what he is due.
Right.
Whereas, not that Saint Scholastica didn't want him to follow the order that he had set himself, but she knew that this was their last night on earth together. And so she was asking for charity in that moment from him. And some people are like, well, I feel like even though like that was his promise that he made and he needed to follow through with that. And some people were more like, oh, no, she was totally in the right, you know, and like she was gonna die. And of course he loved his sister and blah, blah, blah. I don't know what the conversation was. I didn't know if she was like, yo, bro, I'm dying.
Yeah,
you know.
I'm sure that's exactly what was said. That's a direct quote.
Homie
Yo, bro. But yeah, do sometimes justice and charity, do they kind of clash?
I would say that this is definitely an area where it wouldn't be so black and white. I mean, there's a lot of societal issues that we have. Like even with the LGBTQ plus community, even with that, I mean, you have kind of justice, right? Where it's like we're trying to follow church law, but also it's the whole, you know, hate the sin, love the sinner type situation. So there's that justice and that charity where it's like we have to stick to church law, blah, 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 but we also have to love the person and not build up these barriers because we're so stuck on like teaching and the rules.
Right. We'd invite you to go to our podcast page where Trinity has done a wonderful series on the different types of love with one of our local diocesan, the director of marriage and family life. And so, you know, where we here in America have the word love that's so overused and it means such a variety of different things, that back in Jesus's time there were different types of love.
Yeah, and the words were used for that specific kind of love. Yeah.
So even though I think we're charged to offer up that agape love that Christ kind of commands us to use, sometimes
sacrificial and whole.
Right. But sometimes we're lucky if we can even work up to a filial, brotherly type love when it comes to our neighbor.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
So when we're talking about that, you know, that we are supposed to love our neighbor as ourselves.
Yeah.
And so, so that was just something just to kind of think about as you drink your mouthwash, to really
deep drinks.
Think about charity versus justice, or maybe there doesn't need to be that animosity between the two. Maybe they can go hand in hand.
Yeah.
So whatever you're thinking, leave it in the comments
just
below.
Think about it.
Yeah.
That's all you really need to think. I mean, God knows your heart, so.
Right.
That's what you really need to worry about. Sorry, my hair's freaking out.
So it's an adventure here at the Harp Irish Pub and Grill. So, that wraps up St. Scholastica, and I hope that you enjoy this drink, or you can try a mimosa, your choice. I think there was another option in the book, if I remember, but it required ice cream. And
yes, the Dove. That was more of a dessert, honestly, than
a drink.
Straight drink.
Okay, good. So, I mean, again,
lots of options.
Drinking with the Saints by Michael Foley, a lot of great ideas and a lot of wonderful information that we get most of the background story from these saints from the book.
Yes.
So I would encourage you to get that if it is interesting to you, which I think it is because you're watching once
because
again.
You're still here.
So until next time, and who is next time?
We are learning about Saint Margaret of Cortona and trying the second chance.
Second chance? Well, we'll find out what that's all about next week. But for now, Saint Scholastica, pray for us. Cheers.
Cheers, everybody.